So if you look at this, as soon as the market opened today, they knocked down the AHT. You can see the AHT down from on Thursday. They covered it up to 207. You can see where it is. After I made a series of tweets, two tweets actually, and that is why you're seeing the AHT down here. On Friday, I had a video that I recorded showing showing uh, the manipulation that went on Friday, and then today, yeah, you can see starting up. Someone sold 20,000 shares to bring the stock to 165. 20,000 shares to bring the stock to 165. I collected a snip. Since then, the stock has been exactly where you're looking at it. No movement up, no movement down. It has moved to 163 and 166, and all of them in reaction to whenever I make a snip or I didn't make a snip. This has not moved up anywhere or moved down anywhere. The Lordstown Motors, there is a call going on in the stock tomorrow. And bringing this to 165 essentially is to match these two together. The likely thing that you will see that will happen here at some point is an attempt to move it down. They know this has been here. See the time? 9:57. This stock has essentially been here. The reason why you see it moving is because they saw me put my phone in airplane mode. You know, so after they tracked it, that's why you're looking at that. But let me show you. Let me open the stock up for you to see what has gone on. I'm going to start with the genus. Let's start with the genus first, so you can see for yourself. You can see the genus. You can see where the volume is. Now let's go back. Let's go back to the AHT. Watch. You can see the AHT. You can see the volume on the AHT. You can see that. You can see the AHT. You can see that. Essentially, use that 20,000 to bring it down and send a message to a shadow. And then I'm talking in low voice because I have other calls going on, but I wanted to capture this in real time before I continue what I'm doing. You can see that. You can see the volume. I already did a snip on that, and then I don't have to do anything here. They're not doing anything on this top, essentially keeping it low, but you can see for yourself. So I'm gonna pause this and I'll come to it later today. The reason why they brought this down is that they snooped in on a call I made with an expert on Friday, in which the expert was demanding $10,000, and they assumed that I'm gonna come in and try to sell the AHT to raise the money, and that's why you see this knockdown here. With no volume. Plus, this is the first time today the stock has moved to that 167. Immediately after I turned the phone on and started recording, you can see that for the first time today that you see the stock going up there. This is the first time today you see the stock going up there. And that's 1 minute after I turned my phone into airplane mode and started recording.
Yeah, and 1 second, let me just pull up the doc protocol again. I think if it's clearly just like him hanging out with his friends, and it doesn't include someone like, Chris Percy, or the key people we know that were the subjects of investigations for, spearhead investigation and other things, I wouldn't flag them as hot. And I think the same for Mark Denegri. So I think the out of office activities are more focused on, the evidence that AP or others have seen, or the original documents that show, like, for example, Mel Kelfresh is, attending parties like Chris Percy or things like that. So we are more concerned about those rather than just any out of office activity that seemed like bonding between colleagues or like friends. If that makes sense. But if you're uncertain, I would err on the side of caution and just tag it as out of office. We can always, filter out the irrelevant ones.
Okay, thank you. Following up on that question, is a lot of the video, like instead of taking a picture, he would take a 2-second video, and there's no name or anything. I mean, he might be there with a guy. I don't really know who he's hanging out with, because it has nothing but the 2-second clip. I mean, he had family photos, and he had a granddaughter or something. So I know I was not tagging those as out of office, like pictures of his grandbaby, or well, not a picture, a 2-second, or maybe a couple seconds.
Yeah, it's complicated in the sense that it's not complicated, but it can be tricky in the sense that it's going to require some discretion. I think if things are clearly sort of not related to the kinds of gatherings that we're talking about, so for instance, family gatherings, or I don't know, an internal office party that doesn't involve spearhead, or some clear external party, which I would just err on the side of not having to do it. So something like that is clear. But as Simona said, if there's ambiguity that exists, feel free to tag it as an out-of-office activity. But I think if it's clearly a familial interaction or inter-office, internal interaction, I think feel free to leave it off, because that's not the kind of out-of-office activity that we want. Hope that helps.
If I may, the videos or pictures that we saw that was from Jim Smith's collection, but there's no allegation that he was involved in any of those types of office activities anyway, right? So I'm assuming if I see a picture of a hunting trip and I see him, and then I see the same people that he's hanging out with, I don't know, wherever it was, parties and whatever, I'm assuming it's just a family and friends gathering, and doesn't have anything to do with the type anyway, right? Because they're his documents.
Right, exactly. The only time we would care, or care may be too flippant of a word, but the only time for our purposes, we'd want you to tag it is if Jim Smith has a picture of him on a hunting trip that says, "What up, Chris Percy?" Right? That is the kind of thing we would want to take note of.
That's what I'm saying. The clips didn't have any indication of what the person's name was. Instead of him taking a selfie, he's taking these little videos, and that's it. There's nothing to say who is in the picture, if I'm making myself clear.
Yeah, I think in that case, just tag it as out of office for now, out of an abundance of caution.
I'm not talking here because I'm on a different call.
Are there any other questions?
Suddenly, you can see the AHT suddenly going up.
Going once, going twice? Okay, tremendous.
I have a question.
Almost got timed out there.
Okay. On the documents that Denegri is sending to himself, and sometimes copies Sidley, and their Project Bureau documents for the most part to go for review, how should those be handled? Should we root out ones that are copied Sidley, or just leave those in as relevant?
Do you have a comment, Simone?
Yeah, I don't think we should. So those documents are not relevant for the purpose of determining what stuff he has been sending out of the company. That's regular course of business. But to the extent, there's anything in the documents the gaps that we discussed in the document review protocol, or anything substantive discussing, the spearhead investigation, I think those would be relevant. And, if it significantly advances our story, I would tag it as like heat or even hot, depending on what they discussed. But I wouldn't flag it as hot for the purpose of showing that he's sending stuff outside of the company.
A lot of those, some of them are him sending himself links to Relativity Workspace for the Aero documents, but there's almost never any substantive discussion about those. It's just he's gotten a link to some documents that he wants to go and look at or something like that.
Is he sending to his personal email address for the Relativity?
I haven't seen that.
Okay, yeah, I think if it's just Relativity link, I don't think we should tag it as relevant, but if it's clearly about Project Spearhead, I would tag it as relevant, but I definitely wouldn't tag it as hot or heaty.
That's pointed.
Yeah, that's great.
Just to be clear, so the send to external is not every single thing, because they have they're invited to a lot of conventions for investigators or something like that, or you have been nominated for an award, or send in a list of who you would like for I think it was black personalities or contributors or something like that. So I was thinking, okay, it has to be relevant, and then I would tag it as external. And I didn't tag the Sidley ones because that's like a firm that they contracted with. I could tell from everything else. So those I wasn't tagging that as external because from what Malcolm said,
Can see that?
it's just like you
can
just
see
want a
they
collection.
attempted to take the Lordstown Motors to 180. They just brought it down to 165,
Doesn't matter if
which
it's
was
a
exactly where they kept the
non-relevant thing, or you want us
the
to
AHD.
narrow that bucket
You can see
down,
that?
and only if it's relevant, then we will
So
then
you
put.
can see that how that happened.
I'm a little confused.
Pretended it was going up,
They
but
had
just brought it down.
marathons
And let me show you the
pictures of who
volume.
was running,
Let me show you the volume
playing at a baseball
on
game.
that so you can see for
Lots
yourself.
of people.
Watch,
Yeah, I don't think those would be relevant.
Okay,
watch.
and therefore not
See the
even
volume?
necessary for me to say.
Can see the volume right there? Can see
No,
it?
yeah, that's correct.
Can see that? So pretended that it was going up. Can see that? Pretended it was going up and then brought it right back down.
Let's say
That volume that you're looking at, and you can see the time.
that tag is, because it's external and it's
Can see
hot,
that?
and we used it to make a tag,
So
It's activity as well.
we'll kind of do a snip on this too,
activity tag.
Yes.
so you can see that for yourself.
Quick question. If it's sending something like
I'm trying to do a
personal
snip
to
of that
personal email,
beside the
do
video.
we still have to tag that out? If it has nothing to do with the job or any of the investigation?
No,
That's
so
what I
if he, for
changed
example, if he's sending stuff to his personal email, I'm just trying to think of an example. I don't know, he was.
Like dinner reminder, something to talk to somebody about something.
Well, I mean, it depends, right? So if he's just attaching, for example,
That's a
a
snip
website link
coming
of a
up. Can see the
convention that
snip?
he was going to his personal email address, I don't think that's really relevant. But if he's attaching a company
Okay, I'm gonna
policy, for
pause the
example,
video so I
on,
can type through this
on
snip.
non-retaliation,
I just captured this video and saved it.
When we were dealing with Smith or Jeff. Now that Mark is more, I guess from what you're saying, Mark has.
So I just captured the video and saved it. You can see they pretended that this was going to 165 to 180, then they quickly brought it to 165, which was the exact price where they knocked the AHT earlier. And all this as they're monitoring my computer.
That's why you kind of highlighted the out of office. It kind of caught my attention because there are so many pictures,
So see the snip that I just made.
But,
Pause.
is that something that you want to give us feedback on?
it's a little bit harder to tell.
I'm over
because
to the
we have so
screen
many
now.
documents loading
Watch.
around, but I think off the top of my head,
I'm over to the screen now,
we
working
have a
on the
lot of
screen.
the, I guess, investigation reports. So maybe that's an area, well, I should caveat by saying, if it's just someone circulating an investigation report, maybe it's not as hot. But if someone is commenting on it, and saying, oh, actions weren't taken about this, this is what we flagged and nothing was done, and that would be important. So I think standalone investigation reports about, say, for example, Project, Spearhead, and also the mid-market stuff, they're not as interesting because we have seen them. So that's the immediate thing that came to mind.
All right, everyone, thank you very much.
My call, a call that I was just doing on Zoom just ended, and they were monitoring the call and seeing the call. The call just ended. You can see the time the call just ended. The Zoom call just ended. 10:20 a.m. As soon as the Zoom call ended, they brought the AHT down from 169 to 16501. You can see that to be able to match this. So they were monitoring the Zoom call regarding companies that are listed in the public markets and also stealing information about those companies, sensitive information about those companies, and also using them for their fraudulent activities. So not only are they on my computers just to monitor me and stalk me and see what is going on and use it to gamify the stocks and manipulate the stocks, artificially control them. No, but they also the major incentive, one, besides trying to stifle the case and make sure that the more than $2 billion that they've stolen from investors in working together in this fraudulent crime, that money gets not looked at or investigated or looked at or disgorged from them. They are also harvesting information from my computer regarding other publicly listed companies and using that information to manipulate these companies. You can see the symbiosis. So, I'm pausing this again.
Here live the descendants of the famous Namib wild horses. They are the passion of cowboy Emmanuel Frederick. The horses need a lot of pasture because the land here is barren and not very nutritious. The more remote and dry the area, the larger the farms. Emmanuel wants to tame a white stallion today.
As soon
It
as you
has
track my
particularly
mouth, that's
good
why you see
genes
this
and could be
change from
interesting
there.
for breeding.
Because he's been a stallion now, I don't know, it's more than 10 years.
Because as soon as I made that mouse movement, I changed the second, to move the second
I
down.
know people for a long time, so.
And let me show you. Time now is
You have to be careful.
10:34.
And he has to keep his pulse
Is it
rate down.
10:34 a.m.?
Horses can smell adrenaline.
Let me show you. Let's
That
open
makes
this
them
up.
aggressive,
You
he
can
says.
see for yourself. The movement, they've moved the stock from that 165. You can see that they've moved the stock from that 165. See, we are still at 34,000 shares. You can see that for yourself. Okay. After I made that, in this video you see earlier, you saw when I put in the 34,000 around here. So after I made that video of the 34,000 that you're looking at, you can see that where they essentially exchanged that volume to be able to get to this, and then continue basically what the same thing, to be able to get to the volume at this amount. They basically change that volume. But if you look here, you can see, let me go back to the summary page, and we are right at the summary. You can see the stock. You can see that there is nothing. You can see that nothing to justify the stock. Let me show you. coming down
in his work.
from, this is the historical data on the stock just 2 days ago. See, as I'm doing this, you can see them moving it around, but I want to show you something. On Thursday, which was the 25th, I believe, if you look at the stock right here, you can see that. You can see that on the 25th of March 1st. On March 1st, they had to use 1 million shares to take the stock from way here to where it is. Now, if you look here, essentially what happened on the day the stock hit 208, you can see that. They basically used the same 1 million shares. You can see that. Use the same 1 million shares that you're looking at right here to essentially cover themselves. Because these are like 30 people, 30 defendants, all of them, all the market makers. So they exchanged that position
by students preparing for their master's thesis
to pretend that there is an actual trading going on. And then the next day, they got it exactly back down by re-exchanging the short interest and then basically taking it exactly back where it was before that rise. As you can see for yourself, that is where you can see that here. You can see the 26th, you can see the stock on 26th, you can see the volume right there. And so they essentially pretended that they were taking it on just to exchange that position and then continue
climate change and
with what they
global
done.
warming. A measuring device has failed at the main
yourself.
station. Martin got a new windmill, put it together from many parts.
See that?
You test it in the wind.
Actually took it lower than where the initial rise was from. You can see. So this happened, and then they brought it right back up here after I started talking about it, and then that's where they generated that volume and then brought it right back down. So, as I'm doing this, they're washing it, and as they're washing it, they are moving around the volume on other positions.
That one data in the Namib desert.
You can see. I'm gonna pause this. You can see
The
that.
Namib is one of the driest regions on Earth. Some animals have adapted perfectly to their environment here, but they are becoming rarer and rarer.
You can see that. See, as soon as I finished, see what's going on? As soon as I finished, they already saw the direction, they saw the case, that they already anticipate the direction that I'm trying to build on the recording. And what will now happen is for them to try to get the volume up to that 1 million to match the previous 2 days instead of the 165 that we're in now. That is why you will see the seesaw begin to happen. Because as they watch, whatever I'm seeing here on my screen, they are seeing the same thing. They're seeing it and they are anticipating the case that I'm building. These are only three stocks that are really insignificant, are really nothing. So their team just saw the case I'm building, and saw me talking about the volumes. So what you see that? And that's almost as soon as I finish. The recording is there for you to see. So as soon as I finish that, you can see the stock again. What you will see, that seesaw to 168, 169, come back again, come back again, come back again to be able to get closer to that 5 million volume. 1 million, 1 point something million volume. That's basically, which is what they've achieved here by basically taking this up and down and then got to 400 and something. Here, there is nothing. So they just used 2,000 shares to sell it down to 165 to get to match the 165 here and bought it right back, getting it to 6,000. That's basically what's going on here. Okay, so I'm pausing the video for now to do some work. I am over on the
He
screen
now
now.
has 30 claims together with his sons.
It takes a few seconds
Today,
for them to
he's
track
up
my
with
mouse
Jody at 38 degrees.
and then start playing around with the stocks. Okay, I think they got it now.
Oh, there's another one.
Yep, can see that. Can see that. Can see the AHD down to 165 right away, and then you can see the movement on the Genus. That's when I just said they cut the mouse. That was exactly the time, and then you can see the reaction instantly, selling down the AHD down to 165. Time is exactly 10:57 a.m. on March 4th, 2023.
Small but very nice. Perfect one. You can cut it out here. It will be a very nice little piece.
The find brings back memories.
It was purple, and smoky mix. It's a beautiful stone. Big, it was heavy.